And yes, we are live. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining from. Welcome to the Web3 Ladies YouTube channel again. Today, we are having the technical writing workshop where we'll be introducing everyone to technical writing. My name is Aisha, and I am the community lead for Web3 Ladies. And right about now, I'll be handing over the mic to Lizzie, the co-lead for the technical writing club for Web3 Ladies. Hi, Lizzie, you have the floor.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, and you're welcome to today's YouTube channel. So, today we are going to be talking about introduction to technical writing. And last 2 weeks, I gave everyone an assignment to learn and read about what technical writing is all about. So, I would like everyone who has done that to please um, signify, and we want to know what you've learned, what you've read, and everything you know about technical writing before moving forward. Anyone, please. Okay, so let me start with introduction to technical writing. Okay, what is technical writing? Technical writing is a type of writing used to communicate complex information in a clear, concise, and user-friendly way. It's often found in user manuals, guides, documentation, reports, and software tutorials. Okay, examples. Let me give us an example. Okay, think about the instruction manual for your phone or an online help article that walks you through a new software feature. That's all technical writing. So, the main goal is to make complex information easy to understand, whether for a beginner or an expert. That is what technical writing is all about, to make complex information
Hi,
easy
hi, Lizzie.
to understand. Can you hear
Please,
me?
can you if you don't mind, can you turn on your camera
Oh,
if that's fine?
my camera can be on now. Sorry.
Deborah is here, so we'll just have her on stage, right? Hi,
Okay.
Deborah. Welcome. Can you hear me?
Hi Lizzie, please just give me a second. I'll be sharing my screen in a second. Please just give me.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi Lizzie, you can go on, please.
Hi, Lizzie. Is Lizzie there? Okay, I don't know if Lizzie is still there, but welcome everyone. Before Lizzie started, she was talking about you dropping whatever you've learned about technical writing. So if you can do that in the comment section, you can also introduce yourself. Welcome, Ikma. Thank you for joining in. If you know somebody that would benefit from this, you can share them the link to join. We don't really mind. So um I will just share Debbie's screen right now. So Debbie, yeah. So yes, we would have Debbie come on. Debbie should be ready soon. I want to believe that Lizzie is having maybe network issues on her end, right? So yeah.
Hello.
Hi, yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, so I saw ICMA saying it's about breaking down technical concepts for non-technical audience. Yes, that is it. It is just making technical concepts easier for non-technical audience for easy understanding of the documentation. So, who are the people that read technical writing? It is written for two main type of people: for experts like engineers, developers, and all, and two non-experts, end user of the products, employees learning a process. So these are the two main people that needs technical writing, for experts and non-experts. Please, everyone, drop your questions in the comments. Drop your questions and everything you've learned about technical writing in the comments. Okay, so why is technical writing important? Why is technical writing important? Without good technical writing, users can become frustrated, lost when trying to understand or use a product. So that is why technical writing is very important. So before Debbie starts, let me just put in key skills every technical writing needs. Every technical writer, every the key skill you need. One, clear communication. As a technical writer, your job is to communicate ideas simply and effectively, and focus on making everything you write easy to follow and easy to understand. Two, understanding your audience. Understanding your audience is another skill you must have and which you need. Who are you writing for? You need to adjust your tone, depth, and style based on whether you're writing for experts or beginners. So before writing, you must know your audience. Either you are writing for an expert or you are writing for beginners. So also, before you write, you must have research skills. You must have research skills. You don't need to be an expert in everything. So, but you do need to know how to research well. So, you must have good research skills. Also, organization. Technical writing is structured. So, you must have organization skill. You use headings, bullet points, and sections to make the document easy to navigate. Accuracy. Okay, accuracy. Your writing must be correct. Any error can lead to confusion or even safety issues if you are documenting something like engineering system or medical device. So you must be very, very accurate. So accuracy is a skill to have. You must have it. Okay, so please drop your questions. I told you guys to jot down questions when you are researching and reading about technical writings. I'm only seeing ICMA here. Please drop your questions. Okay, so the writing process, the process you take before writing. One, it is research. You research before um, writing on a topic or anything you research. You start by gathering all the information you need, talk to experts, read manuals, study the product or software yourself. Two, outlining. Now, after researching, you outline. Create a clear structure for your documents. Break it down into sections like introduction, how to, frequently asked questions, etc. Outlining helps keep your writing organized.
Hi everyone. Hi
Hi,
Lizzie.
Debbie.
Hi
Nice.
Aisha. Hi.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi. I'm so sorry. I was trying to get my slides up, so it was taking a bit of time. So I'm here. So I think we're at 30 minutes gone. Thank you, Lizzie, for yeah, for explaining what technical writing is, introducing technical writing. So yes, I'm going to build upon what Lizzie has said already. And before I do that, I want to welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Let me see if I can see the comment section from here. Uh, okay. Anyways, oh sorry. Are there any comments? Maybe we can like maybe we could maybe you could let me know if anyone drops any comments.
It's just of the past.
Okay. All right, so I was about to ask if any of you were able to, do your do the tasks that were assigned last 2 weeks on researching about what technical writing is, and jotting down any questions you have so that we can handle it in our first session. So I don't know if any of you were able to do that. So were any of you able to do that? So okay. Yeah, so Gloria is saying, hi Gloria. She said, I've been seeing posts on social media that talks about docs as code and code as docs. I don't seem to understand what this means, despite checking Google for clarification. So that's a very good question, Gloria. And certainly we're going to come to that. The reason why I will not take that at the moment right now is because this session is is an introduction to technical writing. So if we go into and docs as code does not fall under an introduction, but we'll still come to this. And I can always drop a response to this, a detailed response to this later on, maybe during this conversation we're having, or on the WhatsApp group chat we have, or Discord. Yeah, whichever platform you're on. But for now, this is a very, very good question. And so that we don't derail, I will just start with are there any other questions that I can take now? Are there any other questions? Definitely, we should even have a session. Come to think of it, we should have a session on Doctor's Code, because this is a very critical part that isn't really for beginners. Anyways, it isn't for beginners. That's why I don't want to take it now, because I don't confuse many people. But yeah, so Gloria, we're going to come back to this. Definitely going to come back to this. So, are there any other questions? Okay, so since there are any other questions, I think we can start with our agenda for today. So, like I said, this is our first session. The last session we had was the onboarding session. So, this is our first session, and this session is on an introduction to technical writing. And I'm Deborah Emini. So I'm Deborah Emeni. If you attended our onboarding session, you probably already know me. If you're on the technical writing club at Web2 Ladies, you probably already know me. So I'm Deborah Emeni. I'm a senior technical writer. I work at Text United, and I have over 5 years of experience as technical writer. And I'm doing this because I love sharing knowledge. I love giving back to the tech community, because the tech community played a key role in starting my career. So this is me giving back, and this is me doing what I love at the same time. So yes, so that's about me. I'm based in Nigeria. I'm also based in Port Harcourt City, and I would love this session to be as interactive as possible. So it doesn't feel like I'm just talking and talking. So like this is a session, but you're free to use the comment section to ask me any questions. Although we'll have a Q&A session later on, but you're free to ask me any questions you have, and I'll come back to it. Or if you have anything you want to mention or add, yeah, because we're learning from each other, we're obviously learning from each other. So I still have a lot of things to learn, and learn from you as well. So you feel free to chip in, or if I say something that isn't accurate, feel free to correct me. We're all learning, right? So yeah, so So let me get to know who's on the call today. So can you guys drop like a hi? I'm already seeing a hi in the comment section. I can see LQMA. Sorry, what's your name? I keep seeing you on the group chat and I haven't gotten your name. So LQMA, I can see you. I can see you
My name
dropping
is
comment.
Ikma.
Ikma.
IQ. Yes, IQ, not LQ. Ikma.
Okay, okay, nice to meet you. Okay, Ikma. Oh yeah, sorry, Gloria. Okay, hi Gloria. Who else is on the call today? Can you drop a hi in the comment section or even an emoji? Just use the comment section on the YouTube live, and so that I can know that I'm speaking to human beings, not robots. So feel free to drop any comments. I think we're already far. Time is fast spent. We have like 18 minutes past the time we're supposed to start. So I think I should just get right into it at this point. So introduction to technical writing. So I don't know if you can see my slide. Please let me know if you can see my slide. If you can see my slide, please let me know. Can anyone see my slide? Oh, okay. All right. So Aisha, please can you see my slide? Okay, okay, nice. So our agenda for today is pretty comprehensive. I tried to put something together in very short notice. I didn't have enough time to do this, but I tried to, put in as much as I can so that we can cover as much as we can. So we're going to start by talking about what Web3 is very briefly. This is Web3 Ladies. This is Web3 Ladies community. If you're just joining for the first time, this is Web3 Ladies community, and this session is for the Technical Writing Club at Web3 Ladies. So if you're not in the club, please indicate so that you can join the community and join the Technical Writing Club. So we have conversations. If you have any questions, don't share any share job opportunities and all of that, you can find that in the club and also get like access to accountability partners and all of that. And when we like post as regular activities or host regular activities or post like take home assignments or tasks or projects and all that, you can be informed and also be a part of a community of women that are passionate about learning in tech and doing great things in tech. So yes, that's about it. So we're going to cover what is Web3, what is technical writing, and the importance of technical writing, which Lizzie briefly mentioned. The key card. Also, sorry, I'm sorry, I didn't introduce my co-lead, so apologies. So on the call we have Aisha. Aisha is community manager. We have Lizzie Elizabeth. Elizabeth is the co-lead of the technical writing club. So yes, right. So what is technical writing? We'll go over into the importance of technical writing, the key characteristics of technical writing, what is documentation, the types of documentation, technical writing in Web3, understanding your audience, the structure of technical documents, the writing process, best practices, tools for technical writing, practice exercise, Q&A. Then we'll have our Q&A session, and then we'll do a quick recap, and that'll be it. And then I'm hoping you get as much information as you need or you came expectant, right? So let's move there. So I have a note. So my screen is actually split into two. So I have a note that I put down so that I don't miss any important point to mention. So what is Web3? So as you can see on the screen, Web3 is the next generation of the internet. I would say it's still Web3 is already here, but yeah, it's the next generation of the internet, focused on decentralization, blockchain technology, and token-based economics. So when I say decentralization, what do I mean? In Web3, no single entity controls the data. So instead, data is stored across a network of computers, making it very secure and less prone to censorship. So you see your traditional banks that you have. Most of traditional banks are not Web3 related. They don't use Web3 technologies. They are not decentralized. We call them centralized. Why? Because a central entity controls, makes the decisions. Why in Web3 it's not the case. Web3 is like the opposite, right? So Web3 is decentralization. And then those traditional banks that you have, Zenith Bank, UBA, all those traditional banks, those banks are centralized. They're using they fall under the category of centralization. So when I say decentralization, I'll do a quick recap. So in Web3, there's no single entity that controls the data. So note that that's the difference. So that's like the key thing of Web, or the most important notes about Web3. I don't know how to put this, but you get it. I hope you get it. So also, if you don't get what I'm saying, or you feel I'm too fast, you can also let me know in the comment section. I'll slow down because I know I talk pretty fast. So like I said, instead of the data, in Web3, data is stored across a network of computers that are interconnected, a network of computers, making it, and because of that, because of the architecture of Web3, it makes it much more secure than your traditional banks. It makes it much more secure and also less prone to censorship. So and this decentralization, I also mentioned in the definition of Web3, I mentioned blockchain technology. So this decentralization is only made possible via what we call the blockchain technology. So I'm pretty sure this is not the first time you're hearing about blockchain, but yes, so the blockchain technology is what makes Web3 possible. What is what makes this, this no single entity controlling the data possible. And how to understand what blockchain is itself. So blockchain is popularly known as a or likened to a digital ledger that records transactions in a very secure and transparent way. So the key features of blockchain are security and transparency. So it's basically just see it as like database. So it's storing transaction, like a digital ledger that stores records transactions in a very secure and a transparent way. So from the word blockchain, you can decipher that block, like you can divide it into two. We have block and we have chain. So each block in the chain, I'm still explaining what blockchain is. So each block in this chain contains data that is linked to the previous block. So you have one block here, you have another block here. So each block in those chain, each block in the chain contains data that is linked to the previous block. So this block is linked to this block, and each of those block contains data, and each of those data are linked, right? So it makes it very difficult because of the way it's structured, because of its architecture. It makes it very difficult to change or alter any information once it has been added. Yeah. So when I say information, sorry, transaction or data, that's transactional data once it has been added, and this provides very high security and trust. And then I think I mentioned token-based economics also in the definition of Web3. So when I say token economy, I'm talking about how Web3 uses digital assets, right? I'm talking about cryptocurrencies and tokens. So Web3 uses digital assets like cryptocurrencies. You've heard, I'm pretty sure cryptocurrency is a very popular term. So you've probably heard about cryptocurrencies. So cryptocurrencies and tokens, and what they do is basically they can represent anything. Tokens can represent anything from money to digital art, and also they can be used for various purposes. They're not just there for decoration. They can be used for various purposes such as assessing services, voting in decentralized organizations, because how decisions are made are mostly through voting, right? So voting in decentralized applications, or even as a form of of currency, right? So this token-based economy introduces new business models and opportunities for innovation. So that's about it for Web3. So this session is not on Web3, but I had to this to give you like a brief overview of Web3, because as technical writer in Web3, you need to know about Web3, right? So let's move to the next section, which is on what is technical writing. Please, are you following? Please let me know in the comment section if you're following. Can I are you guys following? Please let me know in the comment section. If you can drop an emoji or or chat, whatever. Okay, nice. So, what is technical writing? You gotta be hearing technical writing, technical writing, technical writing, technical writing. I've been shouting technical writing. I'm always posting about technical writing on social media, and people keep asking. There was a time I posted about technical writing on. I posted about it so much on this community, this club I'm a part of, Uniport Tech community. And someone was like, this technical writing, we'll be hearing it over and over again. So what is this technical writing safe? Like that, the guy was, he was, so, I keep saying it, and most people don't even know what it means. So let's talk about it. So technical writing involves creating clear, concise, and user-friendly documentation. That's technical writing. So let me break that down. So technical writing is a process of creating documents that explain complex information in a very clear and simple way. The reason why I'm slowing down when I say clear and simple way is because I want you to understand, I want you to note those two terms, clear and simple. As a technical writer, your role is not to confuse your readers. Your role is not to come and write one very complex stuff or write in a very complex way so that you can confuse people and say, yes, I'm technical. No. So no, that's not what it is. You're actually breaking down. You have this skill of this unique skill of being able to write something very clear and very simple, or not just write something, or being able to write complex topics very simple and clear. So that's like your major, that's your major uniqueness as a technical writer. That's what makes you a technical writer to some extent. So it's not just about writing, it's about communicating. Whether you're explaining how to use a piece of software or you're documenting an API. An API stands for Application Programming Interface, which you would get to very soon. Probably not in this session, but we'll get to it in our next our many sessions that we're gonna have. So documenting an API or writing a white paper, which you get to understand later on. So basically, like I said, the goal is to make complex information accessible. Now, I like to give examples when I'm explaining something so that you can a real life real world example, real, or should I say real world application of a concept, because I think the best way to understand or master any field or master any or get should I say master any career, or you know what I'm trying to say, is by learning how you can apply that skill. You cannot just learn a skill, you have to learn how to apply that skill to be able to understand it, like to understand, okay, so what can I do with this? Okay, I know what technical writing. Anybody can say, you can even Google it, right? Google what technical writing is, but you might not know where it can be applied, how you can even work as well. Do you understand? So yes, I'm going to explain that now. So as a technical writer, your role is to, like I said, break down complex topics, explain, communicate to an audience, which we'll get to very soon. To communicate to an audience, I'm going to give you a real world example. So as a technical writer, let's say you're working in this company, or there's this technical writer called Mr. A. He's working at this, or let me say Mrs. This is actually, so there's this technical writer called Mrs. A. So this technical writer is hi Dave, you're welcome. So don't worry, we're just starting, so you're not late. All right, so let me go. Sorry for that. Like I was saying, let me give you a real world example of where you can come in or what you can do as a technical writer. So let's say we have there's this technical writer called Mrs. A, and Mrs. A has become pretty good at technical writing. So she wants to know how she can actually apply her knowledge, or where she can even work, or how she can actually work as a technical writer. So she reached out to this company, or let me I'm trying to put it in the best way possible. So Mrs. A yeah she wants to work at a company as a technical writer. That's her goal. She wants to work at a company as a technical writer, because I know that everyone here is, you're not here to just learn technical writing for learning sake. You want to work as a technical writer, right? So she how does she go about this? What does she even do? What does she know to do in that company? How does she know, okay, how does she even know her job description, right? Before even applying, because you cannot be applying for a job when you don't even know what you're doing. So yes, to cut the long story short, she figures that, okay, as technical writer, there are many things I can do. I can write documentations. I can document an API that developers build, right? And what's an API? An API is basically what enables two computers to interact with each other, enables a server to interact with the front end, the client, and all that. I don't want to go into the total tech service stuff, so I'm making that sound as simple as possible. So you are working as a, you know that, okay, as technical writer, okay, if my goal is to be documenting APIs for developers, why am I documenting APIs? What are the whys? You need to know the whys. You understand? You need to know the answers to the whys, or know the whys to begin with. Why am I even documenting an API in the first place? Why am I technical writer documenting an API? Why do developers need, or why do people need documentations in the first place, right? This is just an example. This is not the only thing you can do as a technical writer. This is just an example. So why would developers need an API, an API documented by a technical writer? First, most developers are not writers. They're just developers. They just code the software and they're done. Or most developers that are, let's say, building an application, a front end application, they're sorry, front end developers that are building an application, they need they need to trying to break this down. So they need an API. Why do they need an API? They need an API because they are handling the front end of this application. But when it comes to the functionalities, when it comes to, when you see an application, right? What you see, that's what you see when you see the login interface, right? Where you can enter your email, you can enter your password, where they require you to log in, sign up, and all of that. So that's like the front end. That's the front end of the application. That's the UI, and that's the functionalities like the front end. What you're doing there, what you're seeing, the field, the input field, entering the input field. Okay, so what happens when you now enter your email, you enter your password? What happens behind the scenes? Yeah. That's the backend side. That's where API comes in. So developer building the application has already built that interface. You can see that email, that form that you can see where you're required to enter your email and your password. And then the developer wants to, instead of building it by themselves, because they can actually build the backend by themselves, they can handle it by themselves if they have the skill sets for that. That's why you have senior full stack developer. That's what they do. They do both backend and front end. But if it's just a front end developer, they want it faster. They just want to integrate a service. Do you understand? Then they'll have to look for an API existing online somewhere. Let's say they're trying to integrate a payment service, or let's go back. Let me still use this example of logging in. What happens? The authentication. When you create an account on any application, most applications, when you create an account, they'll send you like or when you want to now log in, when you create an account and then you have to log in, they'll send you a token, and that token is what we call authentication token, right? Now this token, you need they'll send it to your email, or maybe they'll send that SMS. You have an option to choose whether you want to receive it on your phone or you want to receive it via email, right? That whole process of authentication, just to make sure that they verify this user, is handled by an API. So the developers now will now want to, okay, I don't want to start suffering myself to start building. And it might sound very simple, but it's not simple when for a developer to build. It's not something I wouldn't say simple per se. I would say it's something that takes considerable amount of time, right, to build as developer. So instead of doing it by themselves, they want to now, they'll go on Google search and then search for an API already, an API that allows them to integrate this service already, and an API that does the authentication already. So a backend developer somewhere in one part of the world has already built this API and is available online. Do you understand? For them to use. But then how do they use this API? How do they know how to use this API? So in this API, there are things we call endpoints. I don't want to go so deep, but I have to give you a real life example so you understand what you're getting into. So in this API, you have what we call endpoints. You have what we call parameters. You have what we call requests, responses. So when we say request, we're saying, okay, when you make a search on Google, for instance, you're searching for, let's say, a product. Oh no, not on Google. When you let's say Jumia, you're searching for a product on Jumia, and you're making a request. Now, when you make a request that, okay, you want to get this particular product, that request is going somewhere, it's hitting one server somewhere that you're not seeing. But it happens in split seconds, so you might not even know that that's happening, right? And the developers are handling all of that. So it's hitting one server somewhere, and then the product that you see, when you now make the research for the product, what you see returned back to you, that's the product that you now see. Let's say you want to get what now? Let's say you want to get a wig on Jumia. Who gets wigs on Jumia anyways? Well, like, you want to get a wig on Jumia, and then you're searching for this particular wig, bone straight, right? And then you're searching for this bone straight on Jumia, and then you get when you now search bone straight, you now see like you see a number of, or a list of bone straights listed on the screen, right? You can see different their prices, different types, the short one, the long one. Now, that the process of that or those products returned basically is what we call response. Is what they call response in for developers. What they call response. So you in API you see something like request and response. The request that clients make or the request that users make, and the responses that are returned. And that response is coming from somewhere. It's coming from the server, which is the backend. and API falls to that backend. I know it's kind of confusing if you're hearing it for the first time, but don't worry. The more we talk, you get to understand it. Don't worry, don't fear. So this Mrs. A, she now figures out, okay, so okay, fine. So why do developers need this API documented? So back to our example, these developers want to integrate this service. They don't want to build this whole authentication service by themselves. So what do? They go online, they Google, they research an API that they can use to integrate this service, right? And how do they use, they see this, they found this API, but how do they use the API? How do they know which endpoints to integrate? Because they are like, in this API there are like tons of endpoints that have, and these endpoints, don't worry, you get to know what endpoints are. These endpoints have different functionalities. You see one endpoint that allows them to carry out that authentication that they want. There are another endpoints that allows them to make payments or allow payments to be done, or allow payment, like a payment service to be integrated on their app, where people can make payments, and all of that. So now you as a developer, you're in a hurry to integrate the service, and you want to learn how to use this API. You want to learn how to use the API. You want to know how to consume this API. They call it consume this API. How to add its API to your front end application, right? In your front end code, integrate it so that you can have that functionality as fast as possible, right? And then you don't understand how to use the API, because the developer that built it just built it and dumped it somewhere. Maybe they use a tool like Swagger, which you don't worry, all these times I mentioned, and you get to know them the more we have these sessions. Let's say they use one tool like Swagger UI to just pull up something for developers to just quickly use, and then but developers need to understand, in this request, they need to understand the parameters. You get to understand it, don't worry. The parameters, they need to understand the responses, they need to understand the query parameters, the path parameters, and all that. That's where you as technical writer comes in. You really want to explain what the requests are, what those parameters are. We have different types of parameters. We have the path parameters, the query parameters, the request body, all those bobo. Is you as technical writer, that's your work. You really want to document that particular API. You will document the API so that developers will be able to reach who are the target audience for that particular API. Because like I said, this is just an example. This is just one example. This is just one tiny example of where you come in as tech writer, right? If you decide to go this route. So it's not only developers you write for. You write for a lot of, like, a large target audience, but not to buttress. Let me come back to the point. So that is your work now. That is the work of this Mrs. A. That's her work, right? To do this. So when I say documenting an API, when I say technical writing is not just about writing, it's about communicating. So you'll be explaining how to use a particular software. So now I just give you an example of where a technical writer comes in as to document an API, right? In API documentation, that's what we call it. Now there's another example. Let's say this particular company, right? They put out this software product, and this, like I said, developers are probably the ones, obviously, developers are the ones that build the software product. But developers are not writers. They want just to build and leave it there. Now, this company, they want to communicate with their target audience, because they cannot just build and leave the software there to be available online for they need their customers who are not even tech savvy, because majority of their customers are not tech savvy. They just want to get use this software to achieve whatever they want to, or use it for whatever reason, right, that the software was built for. So this company, they want to communicate to their target audience, who are their users, their customers, maybe market sellers, maybe people that work in bank, maybe people that work in hospital, or they want to explain this software to their customers, their target audience. And they need someone that is good at simplifying complex topics, complex top concepts, to explain this software product, explain how to use this software product to their customers, or different ways that this software product can be used, or to explain different features of this software product. That's the functionalities of the software product to their target audience. That's where you come in as tech writer as well. You're the one that will be in charge of doing that. You're the one that will simplify all those stuff, simplify everything for their target audience. So that's just the example. And there are other ways you can come as technical writer. So I'm still focusing on what technical writing is and just the basics, right? So let's move on to talk about the purpose. From what I've said so far, you probably already have a clue or an idea of what the purpose of technical writing is, right? So let's just read what we have on the screen first. So the purpose of technical writing is to communicate complex information in a way that is understandable and usable. I've said it over and over again. So the purpose of technical writing as a technical writer, is to help users understand. So it could be a piece of software, it could be a new technology. you as writer or technical writing itself will help people understand how to use it, right? Let me also give you an example. Let's say you purchased a new device, a new gadget, right? And this gadget comes with a manual, we call it user manual, that has like a set of instructions. It could be written, could be a paper, yeah, it could be it could be a piece of paper that comes with the gadget or the device, or it could be online, like it be attached to the maybe this devices, an online software. It could be attached to the software where you can read how to use the software. So those instructions that you see that tell you, okay, click this, don't do this, da da da, da, a technical writer is in charge of doing that in most cases. So yeah, so and also, if let's say you're using that user manual, you're trying to read the user manual and it's confusing and frustrating, you don't understand how to use it, you will be pissed off, or you most likely not. If it's an online software, you most likely move to the next easiest online software to use, right? So that's your work as technical writer, to make provide those necessary instructions and make this product easy to use for the customers. And also, technical writing also, the purpose of technical writing is making information accessible. So it breaks down complex ideas into simple terms so that anyone can understand them. And we'll come to that when we talk about target audiences and all that, because you have different level of audiences. You can be writing a content or a piece of maybe how to use a software, and you have to consider the target audience of that software. You have to consider that, okay, you have beginners, people that are not tech savvy, and have people that are not tech savvy. So you have to make sure that you um you know get to all the target audience as possible. So this is also very important in fields like Web3, where the technology can be very complex and intimidating for beginners or newcomers. So you as you're in Web3, or if I don't know if you're in Web3, but if you're in Web3, you have a lot of job opportunities available for you, because Web3 itself is a complex technology to understand for beginners. So you as a technical writer can come in to simplify this concept for for beginners, even intermediates and all that. So yeah, so let's move forward. So just to sum this up on what technical writing is all about making complicated things easy to understand, and it serves as a bridge between complex technology and the people who need to use it. So let's talk about the importance of technical writing. I'm going to rush this now because I had to take my time to just give you a real life example. That's what took time. So let's move now to the why technical writing is important. Lizzie mentioned, talked about it to some extent. So I'm going to continue from where she stopped. So why is technical writing important? So remember when I was describing or defining what technical writing is, I told you to take note of clarity. I don't know if I said that, but clarity is one reason. So let's read up what we have on the screen. So clarity helps in explaining complex ideas clearly. So clarity, it makes complex ideas easy to understand. So technical writing makes complex ideas to understand. When I say clarity, I'm talking about clear, right? Clarity. So you're making these complex ideas very clear to understand. So usability is another point. So it ensures that users can effectively use a product or service. Consistency provides standardized documentation. Professionalism enhances the credibility of your work. So I'm just going to, because I already covered this sort of in the example I gave, right? So are you following? So I want to be sure that everyone is following. So are you following? I hope I'm not just rapping. Don't mind me if you don't understand some of the things I mentioned earlier. Don't worry, we're going to have so many sessions, so we'll go over that. Those other stuffs I mentioned are kind of complex for a beginner, but don't worry, get into that in our other sessions. So are you guys following? I want to be sure that you guys are following. Okay, please let me know in the comment section if you're following. Okay, nice, nice, nice. All right. So, what are the key characteristics of technical writing? Clarity is one of them. So, clarity is one of the key characteristics of technical writing. So, when in technical writing, you have to use simple language and you have to avoid what we call technical jargon. Technical jargon is anything that that you're just confusing the readers. You're just writing that to show that you know something. You're not just you're just confusing them. Those are technical jargon. If your target audience, be users, customers, whoever you're writing the piece for, piece of the content or document for, they don't understand what you're writing, then it's obsolete. So if your audience doesn't understand what you're saying, the document wouldn't be effective. So for example, instead of saying the word utilize, you can say use. It's as simple as that. Just say use, right? So you can keep your sentences short and straight to the point. And there are situations where you need to, like, explain a lot. Like, when to explain a lot, and at the end of the day, your main goal is to communicate, make it as simple and clear as possible. So avoid using complex sentence structures that confuse the reader. So another key characteristic of technical writing is conciseness. So when you're writing, you have to be brief, as brief as possible, but include all the necessary information. Don't say that, okay, because I'm trying to be as brief as possible, I you know I don't have to, like, you end up missing out on including the necessary information. Like I said, don't forget that the main goal is clarity. The main goal is making sure that your target audience understands what you're writing. So as much as you should be brief when writing, that's not beat about the bush and all that, you have to make sure that you're including all the necessary information. So no one wants to read a 50-page manual, right? If a 5-page manual would do, why would I want to spend time reading a 50-page manual? So you need to cut out all unnecessary words or information that do not add value, and focus on what the user needs to know to accomplish their tasks. So if you're writing a tutorial where you're telling the users how to build a particular application or whatnot, or use a particular software or something like that, you have to focus on um, writing or making sure that the users have everything they know to accomplish that task as fast as possible, so you don't bore them and all that. So another key characteristic of technical writing is accuracy. So you have to ensure that the information you're writing is correct. Now, the issue with this now is many people now use AI to write. I'm not against using AI, because, like, AI, I feel I don't have this. I feel like AI or any tool that will make your work faster or more effective, you should definitely take advantage of it. But there's a big but there. If you're writing something and the facts are wrong and they are not accurate, then you're not doing a great job as a technical writer. You have to ensure that whatever you're writing is very accurate and all that. So we have to make sure the information is accurate, is correct, because incorrect information can lead to mistakes. You don't want to confuse your readers, like I said earlier, and you have to double check your facts and figures. That's why researching is one of the major areas, major specification as a technical writer. You have to love research. Even if you don't love it, you have to love research, because your job as a technical writer, you have to do a lot of research. When I say research, it doesn't you're not limited to just Google research, or maybe, or search engines, using search engines to research information. You're not limited to that. You could have access to subject matter experts, SMEs. So subject matter experts are people that are well informed about the particular tool or particular concept you're writing about. So let's say you're working in a company and you're documenting APIs for developers, or you're writing about a particular software. So you will need a subject matter expert who is well informed. Or when I say subject matter expert in this scenario, I'm referring to, let's say, the people that build the software, the developers behind that particular application, developers behind that particular software. You need to get frequently get information from them. They serve as the subject matter expert. So when I say subject matter expert, I'm referring to people that are experts in that particular subject you're writing about. It's as simple as that. So yeah, so if you're writing about a technical process, you have to make sure that you test it yourself to make sure that it's accurate. You cannot be writing about how to use a particular product where you yourself where you do not understand how to use the product yourself, right? So accurate documentation will help build trust with your audience, the audience you're writing for. Then audience centric is the last characteristic I'm going to mention of technical writing. So you have to tailor your content to the target audience. So you have several target audiences depending on what you're writing about. If you're documenting an API, your target audiences are mostly developers or stakeholders and all of that. If you're writing about a particular product built by a particular company, Then your target audience will depend on the users of that product, right? Who the company defines is their target audience. So you need to find out who the target audience is. You cannot just be writing and writing, writing and writing without knowing who you're writing for, because everything you're writing will be customized to who you're writing for, like your target audience. So when I say target audience, I simply mean who you're writing for. So that's technical writing. So you have to always keep your audience in mind. That might be, sorry, keep your audience in mind, and also tailor your writing to their level of expertise. So if you have beginners, if you're writing for beginners, you have to explain the terms and concepts that might be unfamiliar. Then if you're writing for experts, you don't have to do all of that. You can just go straight to the point and assume that they have a higher level of understanding and go into more technical detail. So understanding your audience's needs and preferences will help you create more effective documentation that can actually be used. If you're writing documentation that is not usable, at the end of the day, you're not doing a great job as a technical writer. So yeah, that would lead us to talk about what documentation is. I mentioned documentation um, a number of times already. I mean, I said API documentation. So I'm sure you're probably curious, what does she even mean by documentation? So I'm going to go over that quickly. So what is documentation? As you can see on the screen, documentation refers to the comprehensive information that explains how to use, maintain, or understand a product, service, or system. I'm going to repeat the definition again. So documentation refers to the comprehensive information that explains how to use, maintain, or understand a product, service, or system. So when I say provide information, I'm referring to basically, sorry, the purpose of documentation, right, is to provide users with the necessary information to effectively use and understand the subject matter. So basically the documentation will give users the information they need to effectively use that particular product, and it could be anything from how to set up a device, how to troubleshoot common issues, and all of that. Then you could another purpose of documentation is guiding users. So it helps users understand how to perform tasks or troubleshoot problems. So if a good documentation, a well-written documentation by technical writer will provide step-by-step instructions that makes it easy for users to follow along. So for instance, a software guide might include detailed steps on how to install and configure the software, complete with you have visuals like screenshots, diagrams, code snippets where applicable, um, or illustrations to illustrate each step. Like I said, the major good of tech writer is to provide information as clear as possible. So illustrations, visuals, diagrams, all of that, they help enhance the understanding of your target audience, of your readers, right? So when they see illustrations, they can say, okay, so this connects to this. They can have a better and clearer visual picture of the information you're trying to pass. Yeah. So we have different types of documentation. Let's talk about that real quick. So yeah, I'm going to share the slides. I'll share the slides. I will. So just join the community. Hi Aisha, please can you share the link for them to join the community? For anyone that hasn't joined the community, you can join the community, and we'll share the slides within the community. Okay. So we have several types of documentation, right? So there's several types of documentation, and each of them serve different purposes. Like they have their different purposes. So we have user manuals. On the screen, we have several. Let's start with user manuals, technical reports, and API documentation. So what are user manuals? So user manuals are basically guides designed to help end users understand and utilize a product or service. Yeah, so that what user manuals are. So they're guides. User manuals are guides that are designed to help end users. When I say end user, I'm referring to who will end up using the products, right? Who end up using that software, who end up using that service. That's what I'm referring to as end users. So user manuals are guides that are designed to help end users understand and utilize a product or service. And we have several examples of user manuals. We have software. We have software manuals and device operation guides and all of that. So User manuals, like I said, are guides designed to help end users understand and utilize a product. So they typically include step-by-step instructions, illustrations, and troubleshooting tips. And examples, like I mentioned earlier, are software manuals, device operation guides. For instance, a user manual for a smartphone might include instructions on how to set up the phone, how to use its features, and troubleshooting tips. So basically, user manuals are very important to ensure that users can make the most of a product. So as tech writer, if you you would be creating user manuals, right? This is one field you'll be creating user manuals. This is one of the roles of a technical writer. Yeah, role of a technical writer. Sorry. So yeah, we another type of documentation are what we call technical reports. So technical reports are detailed documents that analyze a specific technical issue or project. So they are detailed documents that analyze a specific technical issue or project, and they often include things like data analysis and recommendations. And we have several examples: research findings, feasibility studies. So basically, a technical report will analyze the performance of a new software, or evaluate the feasibility of a new technology. So technical reports are usually you usually find them in academia, in an industry. They basically share in research findings and technical analysis. So this is one thing you can do as a technical writer. It's not a must, but this is one thing you can also do as a technical writer. So then API documentation is another type of documentation. So API documentation are instructions and examples on how to use APIs. Like I said earlier, APIs stand for application programming interfaces. Maybe outside this session, you can go and Google what API is, so you can get more information about it, right? Because this we're not like focused on we're not this session is not for developers per se, so it's not for teaching development software development. So you can always go and do your research, which makes the whole learning process fun. Do your research, learn about APIs, so you can know what they are. So like I said, API documentation are instructions, a type of documentation, and their instructions and examples on how to use APIs, and they typically include details on endpoints, like I mentioned earlier, request parameters, response formats, and examples of how to make API calls. And examples of API documentation are REST API guides, SDK documentation. So that's something that will make it SDK documentation, API documentation. You can also Google what SDK is later after this session. You can take note of these terms so they can always research them. It's very important that you know them. SDK documentation, API document. So API documentation provides developers with the information they need to interact with an API, including endpoints, request parameters, and response formats. So good API documentation is crucial to ensuring that developers can, use the API to the best capacity or to the highest capacity. Yeah. So we have another type. We have other types of documentation. We have white papers, FAQs, and release notes. So what are white papers? White papers are authoritative reports that provide in-depth information on a specific topic or solution. That's what they are. They are authoritative reports that provide in-depth information on a specific topic or solution, and they often include background information, technical details, and analysis. You can also check out, all these types are mentioned, and you can always Google them, take them, note them down, and Google them, so you can see examples of these documentations. You can see how they look like, yeah. Because this session, like I said, is focused on an introduction to technical writing, so I'm not going to be showing you examples. You have to I want you to be curious, go online, research about these terms, these types of documentation. Look at how they look like and be like, okay, does it look like something I want to do? Is it nice? How do I learn how to do this and all that? So, like I said, examples of white papers we have are blockchain technology white papers. A white paper might explain the technical details of a new blockchain protocol or outline the benefits of a new technology. So white papers are often used to share technical knowledge and promote new technologies or solutions. So many companies have their own white papers. Just Google them and you see them. You see what I'm talking about. Then we also have FAQs. FAQ is also a type of documentation. What are FAQs? From the word FAQ stands for frequently asked questions. So FAQs are a list of frequently asked questions and answers, frequently asked questions and answers to help users troubleshoot common issues. So most of the time, you might find FAQs on websites, on company websites. You can find FAQs. You see an FAQ section on the company website. You can see an section in a documentation, product documentation, and all of that. So FAQs are basically a list of frequently asked questions and answers to help users troubleshoot common issues. Why do companies actually include FAQs, or why do they even why do you even have FAQs in the first place, right? Why would they want a technical writer to write FAQs? Why? It's because most of the time, customers, users of use company users usually have questions about um products, right? How to use the product. Maybe they stumble on an issue while using this company product and they don't know how to figure it out, so they can quickly find the answers to the questions you're looking for. And instead of the company having to put so much load on their customer support team, which users will most likely reach out to when they have an issue, users can quickly find the answers they're looking for via just looking at the FAQ question, because FAQ section, right? Because let's say this company has thousands of users. Come on, can you imagine the you can imagine that many of those users will have similar questions, and that's what this FAQ section is for. Just provide answers to these frequently asked questions that users have, and help them not just provide answers, but help them fix issues, or troubleshoot common issues that they have and find the answers quickly. That's the whole point of it. Yeah, so examples of FAQs: we have website FAQs, we have product support pages. So like I mentioned, so FAQs provide quick answers to common questions, making it easy for users to find the information they need without having to contact support. So they're often used on websites and in product documentation to address common user questions. So release notes are another type of documentation. So release notes are documents that describe the new features, enhancements, and bug fixes in a new software release. So you have a company that releases software on let's say on a monthly basis, or period of months, sorry, and all of that, right? So those release notes are basically documents that describe those new features that were added, those new features that they were developed, so that the users can know, okay, these new features are available right now, and also describe the new features, understand these new features, and also if there are bug fixes. If you're a developer, you probably conversant with the term bug. So bug are basically errors in the application, errors that pop up in the software. So if bug fixes, there are new fixes, they can also let their users know via this release notes. And you as tech writer, you be in charge of writing these release notes, yeah, and stuff like that. So basically the release notes are to inform these companies want to inform their users about what's new in the software updates and any changes that have been made. And examples are software version updates, patch notes, and all of that. So release notes are often provided with software updates to inform users about new features, improvements, and bug fixes. So they help users understand what has changed and how it might affect their use of the software. So we have other examples of documentation called standard operating procedures, SOPs. So standard operating procedures, SOPs, are step-by-step instructions to help staff carry out routine operations. So they are step-by-step instructions that helps to help staff carry out routine operations. So basically SOPs make sure that tasks are performed consistently and correctly. So examples are company procedures. So company procedures are standard operating procedures that technical writers write, safety protocols, and all of that. Technical writers can be in charge of that as well. So SOPs are commonly used where in industries like manufacturing, healthcare, finance, to ensure that procedures are followed correctly and consistently. So they provide detailed instructions for performing specific tasks, reducing the risks of errors, and ensuring compliance with regulations. Then we have tutorials and how-tos, which is another example or type of documentation. So tutorials are on how-tos. They are put side by side because they intersect with each other. So you can see a tutorial, you can see how to get a tutorial, you can see how to get is yeah, you can see tutorial is how to guide. So yeah, so tutorials are step-by-step guides that help users perform specific tasks. So they often include detailed instructions and visuals to make the process easy to follow. So we have examples, we have online tutorials, instructional videos. Tutorials and how-tos are commonly used in software documentation to guide users through specific tasks, such as setting up a new feature, or troubleshooting an issue. So they provide clear step-by-step instructions that make it easy for users to follow along. So we have seen these different types of documentation. And if you've noticed from these explanations I've given, these short, brief explanations I've given you, each type of this documentation, they have their unique purpose and their unique audience as well. So if you understand these different types of documentation, you'll be able to choose the right format of your content. And so basically, if you're working as a technical writer in a company and they tell you, okay, we want to let our staff, our employees, want to let them know about these, tell them about this company procedures, right? We want to tell them about these safety protocols, right? The company will not know that, okay, we need a standard operating procedure in most cases. You as technical writer, understanding that, okay, there are different types of documentation, you now know, okay, this is what they're asking for. They need a standard operating procedure. And then because you understand how to write a standard operating procedure, you'll be able to write it, right? So basically these types are there to for you to understand and know that, okay, this is what they need. Yeah, this is their target audience and this is what they need. So this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So yeah. So let's quickly move into technical writing in Web3. Let's talk about technical writing in Web3 real quick. We'll go on 1 hour already. So we have smart contract documentation, as you can see on the screen, products and blockchain protocol documentation, decentralized application, the app guides. Yeah. All right. So okay, we'll have to wrap up very soon. All right, so smart contract documentation. So it explains how to deploy, interact with, and understand smart contracts. And examples, we have Ethereum smart contract guides, Solidity documentation, and then we have blockchain protocol documentation, detailed information, which is basically detailed information on the blockchain's architecture, consensus mechanism, and protocols. And we also have examples of that. We have Bitcoin white paper, Polkadot documentation. So, for example, the Bitcoin white paper by Satoshi Nakamoto provides a detailed explanation of the Bitcoin protocol, including its decentralized nature, consensus mechanism, and security features. And this Polkadot documentation provides in-depth information on its multi-chain architecture and interoperability features. Then we have decentralized or DApp guides. There are instructions for users and developers on how to use and build the apps. And we have examples, user guides for DeFi platforms, decentralized finance platforms, developer tutorials for decentralized application creation. So, for instance, a user guide for DeFi platform might include instructions on how to create an account, deposit funds, and use the platform's features. So developer tutorials may provide step-by-step instructions on how to build decentralized applications, including code samples and best practice. So I kind of rushed this section, so I'm going to do a quick recap. So we're talking about technical writing in Web3. So if you want to be a technical writer in Web3, these are things you can do. These are fields you can establish yourself in. You can establish yourself in writing documentation. And what kind of documentation can you have? Several types of documentation you can write in Web3. You can say, okay, you want to be very good at writing smart contract documentation. That would mean that you have to understand how to build smart contracts. You have to understand how smart contracts work. Do you understand? So you can learn, okay, how to build smart contract and all that, and then you can and what does this smart contract documentation mean, right? So what would be your role as a documentation engineer, documentation writer, right? To in this sense. So your role will be to explain how to deploy, how to interact with, and and explaining smart contracts to their target audience, which are most likely the blockchain developers, right? Or CEOs or stakeholders or whatever. Yeah. So that would be your role, right? So this is something you can actually say, okay, yes, I want to be very good at writing smart contracts, building smart contracts, creating smart contracts. And not just that, I want to know how, I want to be a technical writer in Web3 that handles smart contract documentation for several companies as a freelancer, or I want to target this particular company, like say Fail Labs, for instance, and say, okay, I want to work as a technical writer in Fail Labs to write smart contract documentation. And they pay a lot of money, right, for this kind of role, because it requires a lot of technical expertise. So they pay a lot of money for this kind of role. So this is something that you can consider doing. Yeah. So if you're already in Web3, you already know about smart contract, you want to master it, you can master it and do this. And also blockchain protocol documentation, blockchain protocol documentation. What does it have to do? It has to do with detailed information, writing detailed information on the blockchain's architecture itself, consensus mechanisms and protocols. So if you say, okay, I'm very conversant with these terms, I'm very conversant with these concepts, I'm very conversant with blockchain protocols, I want to write about this, right? There'll be time for questions if yes, but you can be dropping your questions already, so we can quickly get to them once we get to Q&A session. So examples of blockchain protocol documentation, as you can see on the screen. Okay, I didn't even talk about the examples of smart contract documentation. So examples of smart contract documentation you can write. You can decide that, okay, you want to document smart contracts to Ethereum. You want to document Ethereum smart contracts guides, write guides on um, Ethereum smart contracts. You want to write you want to document Solidity. Solidity is a programming language in, yeah, so you can say you want to document Solidity. That Solidity is a programming language that allows you to create smart contracts. So you can say, okay, that's what you want to do. Then examples of blockchain protocol documentation are Bitcoin white paper. You can say, okay, since you're very conversant with Bitcoin protocol, you can actually work in this field. You can actually help companies write you can document white papers. You can help you can work in companies like Polkadot, right? You can document Polkadot and stuff like that. There are many things you can do. Many things you can do. Then decentralized application guides, another thing you can do. So if you say, okay, you want to write instructions for users and developers on how to use and build decentralized applications. You are someone that builds decentralized application. You want to learn because there's nothing you cannot learn, right? You can learn it. You can learn, okay, you can start by building simple decentralized applications. You can say, okay, you want to build a decentralized application, right? And you want to be a master at writing instructions, how to guides, tutorials for users and developers to learn how to build these same decentralized applications that you're building. And then companies can start reaching out to you and say, okay, we've noticed that you're good at this thing, we want you to work with us. We deal with decentralized applications. We have this technology that I want you to work with us, and then this is something you can do and you can make a living of it. So examples of decentralized application guides are user guides. You can write user guides for decentralized finance platforms, DeFi platforms. You can write user guides for those platforms. You can start targeting those those platforms, DeFi companies. You can start targeting them and say, okay, this is the company I want to work in. I want to start writing guys. Let me start writing guys so they will notice me. Then stuff like that you can do. I'm giving you tips already. Then developer tutorials also, because companies hire people to do this. And I heard from someone very top in this space, in this blockchain space, that they are lacking a lot of technical writers in this space. Most technical writers, they reach out to me a lot on LinkedIn. They are lacking a lot of technical writers in the blockchain space. So this is somewhere you can come in, you can master this thing and start writing in this field. So yeah, so that's about it for that. Also tokenomics and white papers, something you can also do as a technical writer in Web3. So what are these tokenomics and white papers? So there are documents that explain the economic structure and utility of tokens. Yeah, so that's what they. So this document explains the economic structure and utility of tokens. They provide detailed information on how tokens are used within a blockchain ecosystem, including their distribution, utility and governance mechanisms. So if you're someone that is very conversant with tokens, how tokens are used, or you want to learn it and writing about it, you find this interesting, this is something you can also do. Yeah, you can decide that, okay, you want to write detailed information on how tokens are used within a blockchain, within the blockchain ecosystem, within a blockchain ecosystem. Yeah, then examples of that fall under this category, that's tokenomics and white papers type of documentation, are token white papers. You can choose to write token white papers. You can write economic models for cryptocurrencies. For example, a token white paper might explain the purpose of a new cryptocurrency, its distribution model, and how it will be used within the ecosystem. And it might also include information on the project's goals, team, and roadmap. So as you can see, technical writing is very important in helping users and developers navigate this complex world of Web3. Web3 is complex. Yeah, for beginners most especially. So you can come in, can fill in this gap. Like I said earlier, there's a huge opportunity for technical writers in this space. Like at this moment, there are a lot of opportunities, and if you can master this, you can actually work in these fields and work for top Web3 companies. So it provides information needed to understand and interact with blockchain. You can focus on providing information, to writing documents that provide information on, for users to understand and interact with blockchain technologies, smart contracts, decentralized applications, and token economics. Yeah, so I kept mentioning earlier about target audience, and I told you I was going to get to it. So let's quickly go over this. So, as a tech writer, it's something you have to do. Like, it's a must that you understand your audience. If you, it depends on what you're writing about. You need to understand your audience. So when I say identify audience, I mean, who are you writing for? Who are they? Who are your audience? Who are they? What do they know? Not just who are they, what do they know? Are your target audience developers? What do they know? Are they beginner developers? Are they intermediate developers? Are they front end developers? Are they back end developers? Are they solidity developers? Are they blockchain developers? Who are your target audience? Are they users? What kind of users are they? You get. So also you need to analyze their need. What information do they need? Your target audience are developers, or some set of users, but what information do they now need, right? You need to figure out what information they need, right? So when you're presented with a task or a job, you need to know, okay, what information do they need? If you have to figure that out, it's very important, because without knowing the information they need, you'll be writing for yourself. You're not writing for yourself, you're writing for your target audience. So you need to know what they need so that you can be able to write what they need, yeah, and meet their needs. Then tone and style. You also need to figure out the tone. So when you know your target audience, when you know what they need, you can now figure out, okay, what tone do I use? Do I use do I sound like a professional, an expert, or do I sound like a beginner so that they can understand? Do I come down to their level and stuff like that? So you need to adjust the tone, and not just the tone, but the style of the content to fit the audience level of expertise. So that's about that. Right. So structure of technical documents. So yes, so when you're now presented with a task to create a particular technical document, we covered several types, right? So it might be any type of those documents, but you're presented with a task to create this technical document. Note that each of those types of technical documents we mentioned, each of those types of technical documentation we mentioned have different structures. So they are not all structured the same. They have different structures. When you see one, you basically differentiate it from the other. And this session is for an introduction. So I'm not going to show you those examples. Maybe in the next class we have, I will show you those examples so you can see how different they are. But even I think you should do a research on those types of documentation that we covered, so that you can know how they look like and see how their structures differ. So we have but most in general, we have this general structure in technical writing for technical documents. In general, most tech or every technical document should have a title. So there should be a document title. So this includes the document. So the title page, when I say document, I mean like the document title. So the document title, it should be very clear and descriptive, so that when users just see the title, they immediately know or understand what the document is about. Then table of contents, optional, but yes, it's also important. Table of contents, it helps users navigate the documents, and provides an overview of the structure of the document, so they know that, okay, so this is what this document contains. And if they decide that, okay, I just want to skip to this particular section because I don't care about this other gibberish, or this set of information, they can click on the section, and to take them right to the section they want to read about. So that's for table of content. And then introduction. So every technical document should have an introduction. So basically, when I say introduction, I mean to provide an overview, and not just an overview of the document of what will be discussed, but or what that document will contain. Not just an overview of that, but also the purpose of the document. You need to tell the readers why, what the aim rather, or what they will gain from reading that document. So that's the purpose. I'm referring to by saying purpose of the document. So it should explain what the document is about, who it is for, and what it aims to achieve. That's what you should have that in your introduction. So the body should be organized. Now for the body, but the body section, it should be organized it should be organized, and it should contain detailed information. So for the body section, that's where you have all your detailed information, like your steps, your procedures, and it should be organized into sections and subsections. So in the body section, you can have a header, you can have heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, heading 5, depending on the structure of information you are passing. So and it should have paragraphs. So if you're talking about a particular concept, you start with your first heading, like your heading 1. Let's say your first heading is what is JavaScript or what is blockchain. So that's your first heading. And then inside that section, you have to focus on just what is blockchain. You cannot start talking about um something else, or it's still within blockchain, but something else that does not have to do with what is blockchain. And also, while you're talking about it, you have to make sure that your structure is very clear, that it's divided into paragraphs where need be. You have paragraphs, and for each paragraph you have like limit of 4 to 5 sentences, short and concise sentences, so that you don't confuse your readers or overwhelm them with too much information. And your structure matters a whole lot. It depends, depending on the document you're writing, your structure matters a whole lot. And yes, you also use things like bullet points, lists, and visuals to make your content clear and easy to follow, and all of that. Also, examples, include examples in your content so that where appropriate, if need be, include examples so that your audience understands what you're talking about. Then conclusion after the body is the conclusion. That's like the last part. So the conclusion is where you have your summary and then the next step. So basically summarize the key points and suggest the next steps, right? So the conclusion should provide a brief recap of the main points covered in the document and any additional information that be useful to the reader. And then the appendices, like if you have additional resources for the readers to, check out, to read and all that, maybe links to other blog posts or links to other tutorials. This section, you can now include those supplementary information, right? And all of that. So yes, so this structure is basically how your document should be organized. And like I said, depends on the type of documentation you're working with. And then the writing process. So after you figure on, now you understand, okay, this is how a technical document should be structured. How do I write? The first step is planning. So it's in stages rather. So you have the planning stage. So in the planning stage, there you define the purpose of the document and you identify your audience, like I mentioned earlier. What do you want to achieve with these documents? Who will be reading it? You need to understand the purpose and audience, and doing all this will help guide you through the rest of the writing process. And then we have the research process, which comes after the planning stage. So the research process is where you now gather all the necessary information and make sure your sources are reliable. You have to make sure that wherever you're getting the information from, the source is reliable. And this might also involve you reading so many technical specifications, reading so many research papers, conducting interviews with your subject matter experts, or testing the product itself by yourself, right, to understand how to use the product. So all of those fall under research. And then the more thorough your research is, the more accurate and comprehensive your documentation will be. So if you don't have concrete knowledge about what you're writing about, if you don't have enough information on what you're writing about, then it will determine the comprehensiveness of your document or the information you end up writing. And then the next step after research is creating your draft. After you finish conducting your research and you have like this document where, let's say you're using Google Docs, for instance, or Microsoft Word, that's where you put all the rough information that you found out, right? Then you can move to drafting. That's creating the step of drafting, where you now create this document, right? So here you write the initial version of the document. So don't worry about the perfection at this stage. That's why it's called drafting. So you don't have to worry about, okay, is my grammar correct? Is this sentence structure correct? Just be writing, just draft. Now you have to now draft the information based on the topic you're writing about. So you can focus on getting your ideas down on paper, use headings and subheadings to organize your content and make it easier to revise later. So after you're done creating your draft, then next stage is reviewing. Here you edit for clarity and accuracy. So in this point, you will now edit your document to make sure that it's clear, it's accurate, and it's concise, which I said are three main characteristics of technical writing. So you also in this stage you can also get feedback from others. So if you're working in a team, you can share the document with your subject matter expert and say, okay, this is my first draft. What do you think? Does it align with the company's goals? Does it bring value to the company? Is this, or if you're working with an editor, you can say, okay, I left with my initial draft. Can you check this out? What could be better? Or if you're still learning, you can share it with your maybe with the members of the community, right? You can say, okay, please check out this. And most of these tools like Google Docs, they allow you to share your content so you can see and allow reviewers, like whoever, let's say it's peer-to-peer review, someone is helping you review your document. And these tools like Google Docs, they have this commenting feature where the person reviewing your document can add comments to the document, and you can see the comments and then make the necessary changes and understand what can be done better in that document that you're writing. Yeah. So the person, the reviewer, can check for errors, inconsistencies, and pet peer reviews. I really encourage pet peer reviews at the start of your career in technical writing. So anytime you write anything, a technical article or a piece, please share within the community. Tell them, okay, I'm open to feedback, constructive feedback. Let me know what I could do better. Share. I would even look at it. Yeah, I would actually look at it and tell you what could be done better. So yeah, so after your reviewing stage is the finalizing stage where you proofread and format the document. Here, you make sure it's easy to read and free from errors. You check for spelling and grammar mistakes. There are tools like Grammarly. They have the free version. You can get the free Grammarly extension. If you don't have money to pay for the Grammarly Premium, you can get the free extension on your system. So as you're writing in Google Docs, it's to be noting areas where your grammar can be, where you can use the correct punctuation marks and all of that. And even the sentence structure as well. Grammarly is very good at doing that. But mind you, be careful. Don't accept all the suggestions. Always look at suggestions to know if it still fits within the context of what you're writing. Yeah. So there are also tools like Hemingway Editor that can also help aside Grammarly. And yeah, so you follow all these steps, you be able to create high quality documentation, right? And this writing process will make sure that your content is well researched, is organized, and is also polished. Yeah, so let's quickly look at, we're almost done. Let's look at the best practices. So let's look at some best practices. So when you're writing, use headings and subheadings. So why do you have to use headings and subheadings? So using headings and subheadings will help you organize your content and make it easier to navigate. So headings and subheadings break the content into manageable sections, making it easier for your readers to find the information that they are looking for. So it's very important. Imagine looking at the document, you're reading a document online, an article online, and then there are no headings, there are no subheadings. You're just seeing a large chunk of text. You get confused. You don't even know what you're doing. You don't even know. Like for instance, let's say your plan is not to read the entire document or the entire article. You just want a particular section that explains what you're looking for or gives you the information you're looking for. Most of the time, your readers are not even just looking for an article to just sit down and just read for fun. Most of the time, just looking for information. And then the way the search engines like Google search engines work is when a user puts in a query, like searches for a particular thing, the if your blog post is well optimized, or that's strategy optimization, when if it's well optimized, it will pop up and then the user will click on that article and it will highlight that particular aspect in the article where they can get their information. So now they are, or let's say it highlights it or doesn't highlight it, and then they're not like seeing your documents and there are no headings, there are no subheadings. How would they even know the section that would answer their questions? So that's very confusing. So that's why it's very important to include so headings and subheadings, and not just include them anyhow. Know the structure: heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, heading 5. Heading 1 is like the largest size, has the largest font size. So you know that, okay, in an article, you should have only one heading 1. In an article, it's ideal that you have only one heading 1, and then in the rest, you can have heading 2, you can have several heading 2s, you can have several heading 3s, and heading 3s must come after heading 2. So don't worry, we get into all this when we're talking about style guide and all of that. And when you look at examples online, you see what I'm talking about. So yeah, so bullet points and lists. So you need to add bullet points and lists where applicable. So basically, adding these bullet points and lists will make your information more digestible and help you break down complex information into simple and easy to read chunks, and also make the content more visually appealing and easier to scan. You don't want to confuse your readers, and you want your readers to find the information they're looking for as quick as possible. They don't have time to be reading one large, you understand? So if you break it down into bullet points, you're helping them, you're helping your readers and your target audience. which is your work as technical writer to help pass information as clear as possible. Then visual aids is something you should also note. So using diagrams, screenshots, and charts to illustrate your point. So a picture is worth 1,000 words. Something that you can say using 1,000 words, you can just use a picture to illustrate it. Just add the illustrations, add the labels, correct labels, and the user will just look at the reader will just look at this illustration and understand the information you're trying to pass as quick as possible. So visual aids can help clarify complex information and make it easier for readers to understand. So for example, a diagram might show the architecture of a blockchain network, while a screenshot might show how to perform a specific task in a software application. So if you're trying to show them how to use the particular software application, then you can screenshot that particular part of the software application and show them. And then we have consistent terminology. So for consistent terminology, you have to use the same terms throughout the document to avoid confusion. So consistency is key to clear communication, and using the same terms and phrases throughout the document ensures that your readers understand what you're referring to. And you should also avoid using synonyms or alternative terms that might confuse your readers. Then active voice. So there's something we call active voice and passive voice. So active voice, you have to use clear and direct language. So for example, you can say, for example, instead of saying this button should be clicked, you can say click the button. So saying click the button is using active voice. So it's better to use active voice than using passive voice, like this button should be clicked. So active voice makes your writing more engaging and easier to understand, and also makes your instructions more clear. So yeah, so that's it. So let's quickly look at the tools for technical writing. So there's several tools that can help you with technical writing, and basically these tools will help simplify your writing process. So we have text editors, MS Word, Google Docs. I mentioned Google Docs earlier. Microsoft Word, Google Docs are tools you can use. You can use Notion, Dropbox. You can check out these tools I'm mentioning. For Markdown editors, you can use Typora, Linger. I don't even know those tools very much. I just researched them and added them here. Then for documentation tools, you can use Confluence, Read the Docs, readme.io, Docker's. There are a lot of tools you can use. You can just Google documentation tools to use and you see them online. We have version control. So we'll come back to this in our next section, hopefully. So we have under version control, there are tools you can use like Git and GitHub. You understand what this tool, why you need to use Git or why you need to use GitHub. And then we have grammar and style checkers. So we have Grammarly, Hemingway editor. Those are, like I mentioned earlier, Grammarly. You can actually use Grammarly. I use Grammarly. Grammarly is a very cool tool to check your style and your grammar and make sure that the content you're creating is very high quality. And then we have so we have, let's all talk and do, right? The more we talk and talk and talk and talk, you get overwhelmed with too much information. But when you try out what you're learning, you get to understand it better. So let's look at this practice exercise. So this is a practice exercise for you to do during your free time, so that you get to understand and apply most of the things I mentioned during this session. So the task is for you to write a short guide on a simple topic, like let's say how to install a software. So write a short guide on how to install a software. And when you're writing this guide, pair up with someone, find an accountability partner on the club, on the technical writing club in the community. Find someone to pair with, so that when you write it, discuss with the person, share your work with the person, and the person should share their work with you as well. Then both of you should discuss and review each other's work. Then also, when you've reviewed each other's work, drop constructive feedback and be nice. Drop constructive feedback, and both of you can learn from each other. So please, this is the task for the next 2 weeks. This is the task for the next 2 weeks before we have our next session. Use the platforms we have available for you, the WhatsApp group chat, the Discord channel. Try as much as possible. Don't be shy. Don't feel that, oh, your work is not good enough. You're learning. Everyone is learning. I'm also learning as well. So we're all learning from each other. So don't feel some type of way. So always share and And of course, drop when you drop feedbacks on people's work, try as much as possible to be nice so you don't feel bad. So yeah, so I dropped a hint. As you can see on the screen, you can check an article on the link. The link is you can see the link displayed on the screen. It's just an article on installing Python. I'll share the slide within the community so you can always get the link. So you can check an article. Other articles are available online that are pretty good. So I just give this example so that I can see an existing article and know what yours can look like or what yours should look like. So yeah, so I hope you got this part. So this is a practice exercise for you. Please try and do it. All how do they say that stuff? Oh, I don't know how this. I've forgotten how they say it. But anyways, you should as you're learning, it's very important that you try out what you're learning so that it sticks. Yeah. So now finally, we've gotten to the Q&A session where you can ask your questions. So please ask your questions. So the floor is yours. Drop your questions in the comment section and I'll try as much as possible to answer your questions as long as they fit in within what we discussed today. If they do not fit in within what we discussed today, you can always write the question, post the questions on the WhatsApp group chat or on Discord channel so that I can get to it during my free time. So yeah, so the floor is yours, guys. Whew, I've been talking for like 1 hour, 30 something minutes. It's not easy. So yeah, so you guys should shoot your questions. Hi Ife, you were asking if there will be time for questions. So this is time for questions. So guys, you can ask me your questions. You can take on questions. Once we take on questions now, we can call it a day. Yeah, also comments. You have any comments to make, additions, feel free.
Thank you very much, Debbie.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome, Ife. So, guys, if you have any questions, please let me know.
I was saying thank you very much, Debbie. That was a very great and insightful section. As in, we spent
Yeah,
more than an hour. This is close to 2 hours on this section. I think there's a question in the
yeah,
comment
I can
box.
see. How do you, so if it's asking, how do you get started as a technical writer with a non-technical background? I'm referring to things like getting the knowledge, um, building a portfolio and getting jobs. So if very good question you asked there. I get asked these questions. I've gotten asked this question on multiple occasions. So yes, you can get started as a technical writer even if you have a non-technical background, but you need to learn. You're going to do you're going to be doing a lot of learning. Advise I do a lot of learning. So you can start with blockchain. You're in Web3 ladies, right? So you can start with blockchain. You can start by learning about blockchain. So you learn, let's say today you learn what is blockchain. Then you can write based on what you learned. You can maybe take a course or read up an article online on what blockchain is, and you can now write an article yourself on what blockchain is from your own understanding, and you can share it on platforms like Medium, Hashnode, Dev.to. You can share it on LinkedIn. You can share it within the community and do the whole peer-to-peer review thing I mentioned earlier. So you can start by learning about blockchain and writing about it. So yes, you need to know technical, you need to understand the technical part of things to write as a technical writer. So yes, you actually do need to know. I know a lot of persons to say, you don't need to know anything that you actually need to understand the subject matter you're writing about. So if you want to go into writing, you want to become a technical writer in Web3, then definitely you need to know stuff in Web3. How do you know stuff in Web3? By learning concepts in Web3 and writing about it. That's where you can start from. Right. So I don't know if I answered your question. If you please let me know if I answered your questions. You're welcome, Gloria. Uh, okay. So are there any other questions? If you please let me know if I answered your question. Okay. Are there any other questions? If there are any other questions, you can call it a day. So let me just give you like 3 minutes to drop any other questions if you have. Okay, you're welcome. If you have any other questions, we have like 3 more minutes, like drop the questions and then we'll call it a day.
Okay, while we wait for the questions, I just want to remind everyone on the call. I've dropped the link to our Discord channel before now, but maybe that would have gone up. So you can check the description in this what's it called, YouTube video. There is a link to join the Discord channel there, so you can join the Discord channel there. You can follow Deborah on LinkedIn, right? She actually dropped technical writing tips on LinkedIn. She talks about technical writing every time. So make sure you follow Deborah. Deborah, please can you drop your LinkedIn name or your LinkedIn link in the comment section so that they can follow you, right? And I think there's another question in the comment section again.
Yeah. Also, Ife is saying that she joined the community on Discord just now, but she doesn't see a channel for technical writing. So you might want to help her with that. So
Okay,
Ife,
I
let's
will.
ask you, okay, what are platforms to join or read to help build capacity as a technical writer? For platforms, technical writing club, Web3 ladies, join technical writing club, Web3 ladies. How is the rise of AI used? Okay, how is the rise of AI as used in automating? This is another question. So she's asking, how is the rise of AI as used in automating writing and content marketing affecting technical writing? This is a topic for another day, but I'm just going to quickly. So yeah, definitely AI has an impact. So I would advise, if you're just starting technical writing, please don't use AI at all. Don't use AI to write at all, because AI, it has this very monotonous writing. Do not use AI at all if you're starting to learn technical writing. You will not learn technical writing if you use AI to start. If you're just starting technical writing and you're using AI, you will not learn. You will not master technical writing. You will not be able to become a technical writer, literally. So please do not use AI when starting out. Please don't use AI when starting out. Okay, so I hope I answered your question, Ife. So we have another question from Celestine. How do I begin my technical writing skills? You can begin your technical writing skills by this session we just had. Do the research, try doing the assignment that was passed during this session. You can start from there. And also, if you're a part of the community, you can join the community, or you can follow up our YouTube channel to get notified for anytime you have sessions, so that you can also learn. And so that's how you can start, Celestine. Okay, you're welcome, Ife. So yeah, we have 2 more minutes. So we end at 11:45 on the dot. Yeah, we're going to share the slides within the community. So please join the community so you get access to the slide. Also, when you join the Discord channel, no, there's no Telegram group. There's a WhatsApp group and there's the Discord channel, but you have to join Discord channel first to get access to the WhatsApp group. Yeah, for Web3 ladies. What was I saying? So yes, once you join the Discord channel and you do not find the Technical Writing Club, please reach out on the general channel or something. Say something. Say tag me. My name is Deborah Emini, and that's will be my name on Discord as well. Tag me and say, okay, you just joined and you can't find the Technical Writing channel, and Aisha, the community manager, will help you find the Technical Writing channel. So that's about it for today. Since there are no any other questions, if you have any other questions, please ask it within the community, within the technical writing club, and I'll try as much as possible to provide answers to the question, and try as much as possible to also do the practice exercise, so that by the time we have the next session, which will hopefully be in 2 weeks' time, we will be able to you will be at a higher stage in technical writing, and we have a higher knowledge of technical writing. So yeah, so you're welcome, guys. So we're done for
Okay,
today.
guys.
Yeah, you can watch the recording. So the recording will be available on YouTube. So you can always watch the recording if you missed any parts. Yeah. So
Okay,
bye.
guys, thank you very much for staying to the end. I just want to tell you that you can also follow Web3 Ladies on what's it called, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Make sure you follow us. You can talk about whatever you've learned right now, because we're looking to reach more ladies, right, to onboard them into tech, basically, right. So please, you could actually like follow Web3 Ladies. We will also do a recap of this. You could comment whatever you've learned, what you look forward to learning, and all of those stuff. Yeah. Thank you very much for joining, guys. Thank you, Deborah, for this section. I also
Well,
learned. I'm also starting out in technical writing too.
Nice. That's nice. That's nice.
So I'll see you guys in the next 2 weeks, hopefully.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
Bye.
Yeah, Celeste. It's actually for ladies, but you can join our YouTube sessions. Yeah. Okay. Bye, guys.